Hey everyone, welcome to the best US Mint news channel on YouTube. I'm Son of a Silver Stacker. Today's date is the 4th of October 2025, and in this video, well, we're going to check to see if the United States Mint has finally, because I've been waiting around all morning, finally updated their best of the mint information, because we still have only the three, and it's staying near 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Are they going to do it tomorrow? They're going to do it today? Are they going to update the information about the best of the mint on Monday? I'm not sure which, but it's set on the 4th, but here I am still with my waiting. I'm waiting for the information to drop. Now, in this video, we got a backup. That's right, we got a backup. We have a press release from the United States Mint talking about the Navy Privy American Silver Eagle. Also, we're going to be talking about an article from Numismatic News that Patrick Heller did. He's talking about, well, how much farther can silver and gold go? Are they at their top? Are they at the peak, right? So, now, before we talk about any of that, though, if you're new here, oh, and by the way, check this out. My son and my wife have been making beaded bracelets, right? It's a bin. It's not an auction. I believe it's going to be one for 18 or two for 30, and you can mix and match. You don't have to. And you can even start making offers now, I would imagine. Now, before any of that, though, listen, if you're new here, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're trying to get to a bazillion subs. It's a really big number, actually. It's, in fact, ginormous. You can look it up on the Google machine. Also, we're always live, never edited, and always unscripted. I never know what I'm not going to say. Now, let's bounce over to moneymetals.com, and I can show you those spot prices. You know, everything is really quite incredible right now. Never in my life did I think I'd see silver at almost $50 an ounce. That's just incredible. So gold, yeah, have you got 20 cents? Can I borrow 20 cents? Look at this. 38.99.80, 20 cents more and you're $3,900. That is incredible. That's a tremendous amount of money for gold. Now silver's up 40 to 48.18, platinum up to 16.17.80, palladium up to 12.82.55. And look at Dr. Copper over here whistling its way to $6 at 508 per pound. Down here, you're looking at in stock American Silver Eagle, whose premium is $7.39 for the quantity of 1 through 39. They'll ask that you pay $55.57. And do I hear 60? 60? Do I hear 60? 60 going once? Yeah, we're probably going to see $60 before we see probably $45, I would imagine. That is incredible, folks. Yowza. And I'm going to say it again, is that the United States Mint is going to announce a price hike for their silver products for 2026, if not for the end of 2025, I think. That is just wow. Now, the buyback, the sell-to-them price is $48.02. And just like last weekend, yeah, that's below the spot price. We got here 48.18. So, yeah, about 16 cents less for the buyback than it is for spot. That's incredible. Now, next stop's going to be the United States Mint's 250th anniversary semi-quincentennial page. And I got to show you here, 1 year only. And it's like 8 o'clock straight up on the dial. Yeah, look at that. We got here the Liberty Walking Liberty, 1916 Standing Liberty, and the 1916 Mercury Dime. And that's it. That's all I got. But let me go ahead and hit refresh here, reload. And the winner is, yep, nothing going on there. So not sure when they're going to update this information. Maybe it'll be 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm not sure. But that's why the video's getting late today. That's why we're late. Now let's go here to the press release from the United States Mint. News press releases, 250th anniversary United States Navy American Eagle 1 ounce silver proof coin available October 10 out of Washington, D.C. And this just came out yesterday, Friday the 3rd. United States Mint will begin accepting orders for that Navy Privy on Friday, October 10 at noon. That's this Friday, folks, coming up. It's an incredible week from yesterday. This coin includes a special privy mark on its obverse depicting the United States Navy emblem, and honoring the 250th anniversary. Orders are limited to 1 coin per household for the first 24 hours of sales. Yeah, that's if it lasts that long. And I think this is probably going to be the most special out of all of the Armed Forces 250th anniversary privies. This is going to be the one, I imagine. This is bingo. Yeah, this has got to be the one, because right, it's out of San Francisco, California, and this is it. This is the last American Silver Eagle coming out of San Francisco that we know about. All right, these 3 9s fine silver collectibles are struck at the Mint facility in San Francisco and $105 each. Now it says here to give the new coins an added level of security. They've also been updated with enhanced security features, including a missing reed on their edge. I don't like that. It's not my favorite. Now it says here customers may sign up for Remind Me alert or view additional American Eagle coin products. Now, if you sign up for the Remind Me, you're probably going to miss the boat. Typically, when these come up for sale again, The Mint doesn't do a remind me. I think they've done that once. They didn't even do a remind me for the high relief gold coin. Whoops. Yeah. What you have to do typically is get there at 7:30, 7:29 in the morning, logged in, and then you might have a possibility of a firm maybe that you might get it. A lot of people know what to do with that, and they do score. They do score the Army Privy Mark. They've scored the Laser Beam Privy Mark and some other coins as well. So 7:30 in the morning a.m. Eastern Daylight Time is when you can generally pick those up. Now let's keep on keeping on. Went over to PCGS and see if they had any of the Privy Mark for the Navy up there. They have the Army and the Laser. Nada. And even though it's a week out, and they probably already have a batch. The bulk dealers get theirs a little bit early than the general public do. And I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, we'd see some of those grades here on PCGS, but we don't see anything. But let me tell you this, these are selling for quite a bit of money. We have completed listings, sold listings, and they are ended recently, and that's for the 2025 American Eagle Proof Navy Privy. There's 69 results there. And look at this, 20 proof and 7 69s. And I don't think we can go by that to find out if these are condition rarity. But as things have been adding up lately with the Army Privy and then Laser Privy, yeah, these could very well be joining those two at the condition rarity level. So look at this. This is October 3rd. This finished with 28 bids. That's remarkable, actually, because typically when we have an auction, they go for a lot less money than the ones that are buy it now, but not today, Zerg. Yeah, that's about $19 difference or so. Free delivery on each of them from the same seller, and I really do dig that black core there. That's really cool. 430 there, 449 there, 405 there, 386, 56 bids. That is incredible. So clearly, it looks like the black core is a little bit more desirable, but by what? Maybe $15, $20, maybe. There's 15. Yeah, about that. 233 there. That's a 69. And typically what we see for a 69 is that's going to be the raw price, right? The ungraded price. 410 there. Look at that one. Bam! 425, 435, 428, 228. Same as that 69, 429, 239, 69. $609 on October 3rd. That's an advanced release. So clearly these are actually selling for more than the Army Privy did when that first dropped on that Friday the 13th in pre-sales. That is incredible. That is something else. Look at that one, signed by Emily Domster, sold October 3rd. That was just yesterday for $1,095.75. And if you're not familiar with her, she designed the reverse of the American Silver Eagle. And I really got to get those questions to her so that we can have that interview. Here's a 69 for $229.90. I think you're seeing the deal. Look, these all sold just yesterday. These are hot. These are moving fast. So if you're a seller on these, you're probably going to run out of inventory rather quickly. 438 there, 239 for a proof 69 Ultra Cameo, 428, 609 for an advanced release from the San Francisco Mint. That is a good bit of money. Wow, 439, 449. Yeah, for a $105 coin. Yeah, think about that. You're almost getting four times what the face is on that. Obviously, there's some grading fees, there's some shipping fees, and so on and so forth, and special labels and whatnot, but that is pretty incredible. Now, let's get to the story of the day. Yes, here we go. This is from numismaticnews.net, and this is by Patrick Heller, dated just yesterday, October 3rd, 2025, at 5:22 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That's 8:30 almost on the East Coast. Title of this article is, Are Gold and Silver Prices Near a Peak? Let me know what you think in the comments below. I really like to find out what you think about the price of silver and gold. I mean, I already showed you that we're dang near $3,900, almost $4,000 for an ounce of gold, $4,000, and then $50 for an ounce of silver. That is incredible. And I think for me personally, if I'm going to go ahead and make a prediction before I read this article, I'm going to say, I ask questions, right? I don't really want to make a statement like this is going to be it and that's all it can be. But has our debt decreased? Has, you know what I mean? It's like, have the factors that made these prices possible, have they gone away, or are they just getting more intense, right? So I think that's what we need to ask. Is the dollar getting weaker? Is the dollar getting stronger? All these are really great questions. Gold hits record highs and silver surges to 2011 levels, but are precious metals peaking or just getting started? And remember, these gold prices have been going up from what? Since the pandemic. Now, so look at that. Wouldn't that be nice? It's like that Beach Boys song. Wouldn't it be nice? All right, here we go. In the past 4 weeks, the price of gold has increased by 7.6%, and silver has jumped by 13.8%. As measured in U.S. dollars, gold closed Wednesday of its week at an all-time high record an all-time record high, while silver reached its highest COMEX close since April of 2011. With such large increases in such a brief time span, could these metals be near a peak? And remember, they did have one day last week that sold off, but then again, bam, it went right back up. Normally, when you have such a strong surge in such a brief time, you will see some consolidation and profit taking. That's exactly right. Now, do you partake in profit taking, or you just hold tight and wait for that spot that you're looking at? Are you looking at $100, $75, $250 an ounce? What is your sell price, right? And that says profit taking that stalls the price or even pushes it back down. And we saw that it pushed back down, but not for long. There are some technical indicators for gold and silver that signal that this could happen. The first one is the relative balance between the paper market trades that are initiated by the buyers or sellers of contracts. Right now, the balance in both markets is tilted heavily towards buyers. Should these markets revert back to closer balance, which would indicate a slackening of demand, right? Like less demand, right, is what they're saying, which could halt rising prices. Markets such as gold and silver are now experiencing conditions called overbought. But are they, though? They could be. But what's interesting is that silver has become an industrial metal, more so now than ever before. You also must examine how spot prices are trading in relation to global levels in the world's two largest gold and silver consuming countries, China and India. As recently as August 25th, the private sectors in both nations were using a gold spot price $45 higher than what was used worldwide. But rising gold prices have cut into demand. As of 2 weeks ago, gold was trading in India about $1.50 below the global levels. In China, well, it's too bad they don't talk about what it was trading for before that, right? Like they mentioned here, $45 higher, because we don't really have anything to go off there. In China, the discount below world prices was about 2%. The shift in gold price in China and India relative to global level indicates some softening of demand, which could slow down or halt price increases. What they're also not talking about here, I've noticed, but they may, and further on in the article, is that central banks are not just buying gold. Yeah, they're also stacking silver. Isn't that something? Another non-technical factor signaling that gold's price may be nearing a peak is an increase in the number of new buyers. That's right, new buyers. And imagine if the things like Bitcoin and all these digital coins, imagine where that money would go to if that digital currency wasn't a thing, right? They'd probably go into gold and silver as well, which even makes it more remarkable at the price levels that we're seeing now. And also, guess what? Yeah, there's a silver supply deficit or shortage, whatever you like to say. It's fine. On October 16th, investment bank Morgan Stanley changed its recommended investment portfolio allocation from 60% equities slash 40% fixed income to 60% equities, 20% fixed income, 20% gold. There you go. So look at that. They've said, maybe, just maybe you want to be in some gold. And it makes you wonder why they didn't do that like years ago, right? Because that's when gold really started taking off. It was like, what, $1,600? Now we're at 4,000. I mean, come on. The allocation to gold was specifically labeled as a protection against government inflation of the money supply, and we've been having inflation for how many years? Yeah. Morgan Stanley's chief investment officer, Mike Wilson, told Reuters Global Markets Forum, gold is now the anti-fragile asset to own rather than treasuries. High-quality equities and gold are the best hedges. Where was he 4 years ago? When the markets became saturated with buyers, that almost always signals a peak, as there are no more new buyers to join in the U.S. In the U.S., there has been a definite surge in new gold and silver buyers in the past few weeks. When you consider these factors, some could anticipate that gold and silver markets may be near a peak. Now, here we go. His opinion. In my judgment, such conclusions are almost certain to be wrong. There you go. That's right. So he doesn't think that they may be near that peak. A little sippy sip of water. All right. Gold and silver have been used as report cards on fiat paper currency, like we have here in the United States, backed by the faith of the United States government. As of Tuesday this week, the U.S. dollar index had fallen by 38.3%. Year to date, against an ounce of gold, it dropped by even larger percentage to silver. That's right. Weak dollar, strong precious metals. It's not that the precious metals are worth more. It's that your dollar is worth less, right? For gold and silver to be near their peaks, the value of the U.S. dollar needs to stabilize or recover. He doesn't see any politicians or bureaucrats advocating the necessary steps to accomplish that goal. For instance, the federal government spent $6.75 trillion, boy, that's a lot of simoleons, in the fiscal year that ended September 30th, 2024. In the fiscal year that ended September 30th, just a few days ago, expenditures came to 6.66 trillion, virtually the same as the year before. Yowza, well, you can give me that difference, I'll be all right. For fiscal 2024, the federal government ran an official deficit of 1.83 trillion, a figure which does not include the multi-trillion-dollar deficit for Social Security, Medicare, and related programs. And that's why I said in the beginning of this, has anything changed? Right? Has anything changed at all that would make you think that the party's over? By the end of August 2025, the federal government's official 11-month deficit had already reached 2.0 trillion. Soaring government deficits, debt, and the net present value of unfunded liabilities for Social Security, Medicare, and related programs create a growing risk of continuing declines in the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar, meaning higher future gold and silver prices. And remember, there is some talk I think in the administration that says that they want to revalue gold. And what kind of an effect? And so, I don't think that's been done since the 1930s. I think when FDR confiscated a bunch of gold from American citizens, made it illegal to own gold. And that begs the question, if they do revalue gold, what then? Right? If it goes, and at what levels? I think that's a really important question to ask. And it's probably a good idea to look at what the history books have said of what the outcome of that was. The politicians were hoping that the Federal Open Market Committee, that's the FOMC, right? We always talk about that announcement on September 17th that it was lowering the federal funds rate, interest rate, would lead to other declines in interest rate. That happened in some instances, including shorter maturity U.S. Treasury debt. However, the interest rate yield on 30-year U.S. Treasury debt on September 17 was 4.66%. On October 1st, this week, just a couple days ago, it had risen to 4.72%. This signals weakness in the future purchasing power of the U.S. dollar. Exactly. Womp womp. Yeah, so here we go. This is wrapping it up. This is the conclusion. You must also look at developing shortages in gold and silver inventories. That's what I'm talking about right there. The percentage of maturing COMEX gold and silver future contracts called for delivery this year is higher than it had been in the past. This is a significant indicator of rising physical demand. A standard COMEX silver contract is for 5,000 ounces, consisting of 5 1,000-ounce ingots. I've never held a 1,000-ounce bar before, but I'm sure that would be pretty amazing. Probably get a workout. The demand for COMEX silver deliveries is currently so strong that the wholesale price of the COMEX deliverable 1,000-ounce bars has recently sometimes been higher than for 1-ounce bars and rounds. That is amazing. Because typically what you see is, how much more work do they have to think about it? A 1-ounce bar, how many times do they have to pour a 1-ounce bar compared to a 1,000-ounce bar, right? So 1,000 times they have to pour and do that one, and they just get 1,000, one time. So generally, the lower the fractional, the smaller it is, the higher it costs because there's more work involved into it, right? That's why you see 1/10 ounce gold or 1/4 ounce gold rounds are more expensive than the 1-ounce rounds, right? In my judgment, he says, when you consider that the change in the purchasing power of the U.S. dollar heavily influences the price of gold and silver, the two metals are nowhere near their peak. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm going to stop yammering here, and I'm going to go back to the United States Mint just right quick over here and see if they've got anything up, and I think it's about 8:16 now. I'm going to reload and the page and see if they've actually put this up here today. There we go. And we still have the Walking Liberty, Standing Liberty, and the Merc Dime. That's it. So maybe, just maybe, then we'll see this tomorrow, mañana, on Sunday morning. Now, with that said, let's go to the +1 action. This is Proverb 13, number 7. It says here, some pretend to be rich and have nothing, but others act poor and have great wealth. Do you think countries die? Now, we know people do this, right? People do this, but do countries do this? Does the United States do this? Does Mexico? Does Canada? Does Brazil? Does the United Kingdom? And so on and so forth down the road? Not sure, but I bet they could because they're ran by what? People. That's right. So it says here, and I think this is what it means, both types of people are not to be followed. One is spending what little money they have to pretend to be rich and soon will be impoverished by their own foolishness. Oops. Yeah, while the other won't fulfill their obligation to give to the poor and the needy. Yeah, that's right. That's sad. not the greatest. Now, let's jump over here to 39's Fine, 99.9 KOIN Coin News Radio. This is Echo and the Bunnymen, the cutter, spare us the cutter. Now, with that said, I want to thank y'all for coming. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you hear and see, sub the channel. It's absolutely free. What's not free is the membership. It's $1.99 a month. It's the price of a cheap cup of coffee or inexpensive cup of coffee, whatever you like. And we also have a fantastic store. You got to check that stuff out if you're into coin roll hunting. It is a coin roll hunting paradise for those mats we have. They're almost 3 feet across. It's like your whole workstation. They're so big, they're almost on the verge of obnoxious. Yeah, and overkill is underrated, right? And one last thing, check out the bead sales. I'm trying to support my son. It's basically designs by Cyrus, the former Persian ruler that let the Jews go home, freed the Jews. That's his name. His grandma named him. That's how it works. Anyway, I want to thank y'all for coming. Y'all have a great start to your weekend. Stacker out.